Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good afternoon, Representative.
Good afternoon. Chairman Adolph, Chairman Markosik, pleasure to be here. I'm probably going to switch gears and go to, I hope, what is a less controversial topic. As many of the members know, one of the issues that I advocate annually on is in regards to Lou Gehrig's funding and the care of patients that are there. In fiscal year 2010 and 11, I worked with Representative Josh Shapiro to have a line item included in the Department of Health, and that money was used to care for the roughly 800 patients that we have here in the Commonwealth. What I would respectfully request is, as we reconsider the budget and we prioritize the spending there, that we evaluate how that money was spent and the money that was saved in relation to that spending, and hopefully we could find a couple $100,000 to reallocate into that program. As you all know, this is an issue that is very personal for me. Both my parents passed away from Lou Gehrig's disease when I was much younger, and so I will be very free to admit my bias regarding this specific disease. However, I have a greater concern because this disease, while the life expectancy was only 2 years when my parents were diagnosed, has now moved up into 5 to 7 years. These individuals typically end up in nursing homes and subsequently on Medicaid once they run out of money. And so there's a substantial cost to the state, potentially up to $90,000 a year, that we incur and then as we care for these patients. There is a much better alternative, both from a care perspective as well as a savings perspective, if we care for these individuals in their homes. It's proven that we can save a substantial amount of money. Many times the caregivers are a mix of hired help from the outside, from home health agencies and things like that, which I know are currently also struggling in this budget, but also family members, friends, and neighbors that typically care for these individuals. My main concern, though, is even bigger than the 800 patients that are currently here, because obviously me coming asking for help doesn't do anything for my parents. They have already passed, and many of the friends that I got to know at the same time my parents were ill have also passed. But as a Commonwealth, we're facing a very stark reality, and that reality is that we have the largest majority of deployed National Reservemen in the country. And the reason that is so important is because there's a very definitive link between service in the military and Lou Gehrig's disease. In fact, studies have demonstrated that dating back to World War II, they're almost twice as likely to contract Lou Gehrig's disease or some other neurological disorder that's roughly associated in the family. And that's the concern that I have. As we have our contingent of troops who are bravely defending us across the world, that they're going to return home. And the infrastructure is in place, and if we don't fund it or we don't fully support it now, it may be gone by the time that those veterans truly need it. So I'm hopeful, and again, respectfully request, I know in 2010-11, the allocation was about $325,000, I believe, and you know, something in that neighborhood. Obviously, I would love to have more than that because there's substantial return on investment there. But the reality is our veterans are returning home. They're going to have these problems, and I think that we owe it to them in order to have that infrastructure in place in order to meet their needs. I'll be glad to distribute some information afterwards because I want to be mindful of your time, and I'll follow up with some of the specific data in regards to what it costs to care for individuals in the nursing facilities versus at home, and we'd be happy to answer any questions afterwards once I send the information. So thank you for your time, Mr. Chairman.